Invite you into our presence. Just for these few minutes, quiet our racing minds so that we may focus on you and give thanks. Fill us with deep gratitude for all that we often take for granted. Honest work and sustaining incomes, safe places to sleep, ample food, access to transportation, caring friends, loving families, and most of all, deep gratitude for your unceasing mercy, grace, and unmerited stream of blessings. Though we live in a time of division, help us to be compassionate connectors, listening with our hearts, helping with our hands, healing with love. Give us the courage to face and address the tough problems in our city, county, country, and world, recognizing that in the words of James Baldwin, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. Omnipotent One, help us to always be Sawubona, the Zulu greeting that translates to, I see you. I see the whole of you, your experiences, your passions, your pains, your strengths and weaknesses, and your future. You are valuable to me, and I recognize your worth and dignity. Finally, Creator, we pray that every member of this club is committed to the 2025-2026 Rotary International theme and eagerly steps forward to unite for good. Amen.
Thank you, Maddie and Wesley. Here to introduce our guest is Keegan Hand, Chief Development Officer at Lena Pope, and we're very happy to have so many guests with us today. Keegan?
Hello, it is my privilege to welcome our guest. Guests, if you will, as I call your name, if you'll stand as you are able so we can give you a warm welcome. First, we have Brian Perry, guest of Ann Zeta. We have Ethan Putnam, guest of Rebecca Montgomery. Carol Del Real, guest of Karen Johnson. Joe Cortez, guest of Linda Lopez. Chad Gartner, guest of past President David Campbell. Braden Lambrecht, guest of Matt Kimball. Caitlin Peacock, guest of Shanna Saldana. Tara Frost, guest of Shadi Kilani. Brandon Chikotsky, guest of Ed McGlynn. Grace Lewis, guest of Ben Robertson. Chrissy Feta, guest of Garrett Hadley. Welcome. We hope you enjoy your day. Thank you.
Thank you, Keegan. It's a tradition of our club to recite Rotary's four-way test, a guide to what we think, say, and do. Please join me. Number 1, is it the truth? Number 2, is it fair to all concerned? Number 3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And number 4, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you. Next up, we have a brief report on the January board meeting. Your board is hard at work taking care of business, keeping up with our committees, and looking ahead to the activities of the club. Here are the highlights from the January meeting. A quorum was present, and we approved last month's minutes. We heard a report from the Public Image Committee and approved their recommended value proposition. They will be sharing that with the club very soon. We approved the December financial statements for Rotary, the Children's Fund, and the Endowment Fund. We reviewed year-to-date membership numbers, heard a preliminary report on the four-way donor initiative, and approved a new policy on confidentiality of member, donor, and other sensitive information. We take guarding your personal information seriously and now have a policy in place. We also heard committee reports and highlights from RLK, RMBA, and just a reminder, you've got until tomorrow midnight to submit any further nominations. And a congratulations and thank you to Greg Carter and Kelly Louder, who are the new Community Service Committee co-chairs. We also approved an amendment to the new Member Engagement Committee charter. We heard updates on the golf tournament, Global Grant Committee Chair training, and the plans for the end-of-year report and celebration. And that's it for the board report. Thank you, board. We also have an announcement about next year's board and officers. As you may recall, we elected 5 new board members in December. They met with the existing board and elected officers for the next Rotary year, which begins on July 1st of this year. Congratulations to these Rotarians who will be serving as your officers next year. Tom Law will be our president-elect. Kathy Neese Brown will be, Tom will be the president. Kathy Neese Brown will be the president-elect. Jason Ellis will be your vice president. Mark Nurden, your treasurer. Brenda Beveridge will be serving as secretary, and your sergeant-at-arms will be Ed Macklin. They will be joined on the board by Bill Fairley, Randall Howard, Carol Telshaw Johnson, John Laudenslager, and Jim Witten. Let's congratulate them and thank them for giving their time and talent to the Rotary Club of Fort Worth. There has been a lot of news this week, and here to give us his take on current events is our friend, John Fletcher, President and CEO of Fletcher Consulting and Public Relations. John.
Boy, you overwhelm me. I feel like the Olympic announcer who complained about how boring the snowboarding competition was during a commercial break, only to discover there was no commercial break. He was live on the air. The appropriate word is whoops. But what a day today is. Friday the 13th, tomorrow is Valentine's Day. What could possibly go wrong? Well, the good news is, to align with the NFL, this newscast will be interrupted at halftime by a performance by Bad Bunny. He's coming back. Up, made you look. Anyway, it's a known fact that Jerry Jones is the greatest general manager in the history of all of the NFL because he tells us repeatedly. And he's teaching us to parse his words very, very closely. Last summer, he promised us that the Dallas Cowboys would be represented at the Super Bowl, and he was right. He was there last Sunday, representing the Cowboys in the owner's box for the 30th consecutive year without the team playing. But Jerry's working hard to bring a championship after a masterful trade that sent Michael Parsons to the Green Bay Packers for, I think, a bag of soap. Jerry is swapping players again, but in a non-traditional way. He has signed 40-year-old Olympic skier Lindsey Vonn. Jerry says she may be too old and she does have a broken leg, but she'll bring lots of media attention and endorsements, and that's what's important to him. And speaking of the Super Bowl, all eyes were on, well, not really the game, I can't recall who played, but the commercials. The winning commercial was Budweiser's American Icon that featured a baby bald eagle and a Clydesdale. Next were the Lay's potato chip commercial and a clever Pepsi commercial that hijacked Coca-Cola's polar bear into becoming a Pepsi convert. Not quite making the cut were the commercials for Jim Adler, the Texas Hammer, and William Devane's Gold commercials. We're in the second week of the Winter Olympics, which guys at local barbecue joints call a bunch of winter sports plus ice skating. The Olympic organizers are working hard to increase viewership, so these are the latest developments. All competition on ice will be moved to a pond that is beginning to thaw. If a competitor wins a head-to-head gold medal match, he or she becomes king or queen of that country. They'll set a polar bear loose on the ice at the beginning of each figure skating routine. And for curling, well, never mind curling, it's perfect as it is. Well, and also we're 4 weeks away from the IndyCar races in downtown Arlington. That'll start once again on Friday the 13th. That'll go around Cowboy Stadium and Globe Life Field. In a new twist due to a sponsorship endorsement, every driver will have to stop at the 7-Eleven and drink an entire big gulp for every trip around the track. Well, tomorrow is Valentine's Day, and so there's some special inspirational quotes to share with you with our roving reporters. Where's Jason Ellis?
Here I am.
Tell us, what you got?
Love is being stupid together.
Way to go. Love is being stupid together. Judy Youngs. Okay. Brandon Chikoski. Brandon.
Happy Valentine's Day. Now let's all go enjoy a crowded restaurant.
Okay, and Jim Parr?
Chocolate is the answer. So who cares what the question is?
In real news, Fort Worth legend Bob Schieffer was in Arlington this week to dedicate his entire collection of the photos he took from the Vietnam War and published in the Star-Telegram. So that was really special. He said the Associated Press was assigned to interview the generals. He had the GIs, which is really who he wanted. And finally, this is day number 2 of New York Fashion Week, which explains why several of our Rotarians are absent, including Kathy Nice Brown, Carla Capuit, and Charlie, what time are you flying out? Charlie Powell. The weekend's forecast calls for rain tomorrow and Sunday, so perhaps you and your Valentine just snuggle inside and watch romantic movies like Caddyshack, Ghostbusters, and all the classics. And that is Rotary News.
Well, since it is Valentine's Day tomorrow, we have a special treat here to share with us the spirit of love and affection of Valentine's Day is our own Wesley Gentle, Executive Director and President, Arts Fort Worth. Take it away, Wesley.
My funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine, you make me smile with my heart. Your looks are laughable, unphotographable, yet you're my favorite work of art. But don't change a hair for me, not if you care for me. Stay, little Valentine, stay. Each day is Valentine's Day. Thank you very much. The book of love is long and boring, written very long ago. It's full of flowers and heart-shaped boxes and things we're all too young to know. But I love it when you sing with me, and you can sing me anything. The book of love has music in it. In fact, that's where music comes from. Some of it is just transcendental. Most of it is just really dumb. But I love it when you sing with me. You can sing me anything. My funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine, you make me smile with my heart. Your looks are laughable, unphotographable, yet you're my favorite work of art. Is my figure less than Greek? Is my mouth a little weak when I open it to speak? Am I smart? But don't change a hair for me, not if you care for me. Stay, little Valentine, stay. Each day is Valentine's Day.
Thank you, Wesley.
President, I'm proud to report we raised $3 for the Children's Education Fund.
Yeah, there is a tip jar over there, just if you feel so inclined. You know, Valentine's is a special day for anyone who's in love, but it's especially special for someone who's been married 50 years. So let's give a shout out to Dick and Sherry Riddell, who are celebrating their 50th anniversary tomorrow. I'd now like to call on President-elect Tom Law, Managing Broker, VCL Commercial Real Estate, to make a grant presentation. Tom.
Thank you, President Ann and Wesley. Always really enjoy hearing your good work, so thank you very much for today. Rotary Club of Fort Worth is pleased to be able to present this grant to the Donald N. Thompson Post 65 Foundation. Today we have with us Chad Page, Don Shelton, and Amy King. The American Legion Post 655 serves as a trusted meal hub for veterans, seniors, and working families across Haltom City, North Richland Hills, and Watauga. Aging refrigeration repeatedly fails, risking food spoilage, service interruptions, and safety violations, exactly when demand for affordable, nutritious meals is rising. With Rotary's grant, the post can replace units with energy-efficient NSF-rated equipment, which will stabilize operations, lower costs, and protect the food supply that underpins thousands of annual meals. This project directly strengthens food security, public health, and community resilience for vulnerable neighbors in the Forest City area. For Rotary's veterans-focused priorities, it strengthens a proven hub where veterans across access nourishment, peer support, and benefits navigation. As a community resilience upgrade, the equipment enables reliable service during emergencies, reflecting Rotary's commitment to practical, high-impact, locally led solutions. So again, this is another example of where your donations to our endowments really do make a difference. Here to present that check. Handing this to the treasurer.
Yeah, give it to the treasurer. There you go.
And let me add, today's Chad's birthday, so we don't want to miss that moment. So. And a quick picture, too. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you to the Post for supporting our veterans and providing such nutritious food for them. We have two first readings from Secretary Karen Telshaw Johnson, owner-principal of Telshaw Johnson Law, PLLC. Karen?
So our first reading is Brandon Kyle Shakowski, Associate Professor at TCU Neely School of Business, Classification Higher Education, Proposer Ed McLinn. Our second reading is for Braden Lambrecht, Account Executive and Broker with Dallas Commodity Company, Classification Finance, and Proposer Matt Kimball. If no written objections are received in the Rotary office by February 20th, these proposals will be given second readings and voted on by the club. Congratulations.
Thank you, Karen. It's always great to welcome new members to the Rotary Club of Fort Worth, and here to do that today is Ed Macklin, insurance consultant, Champion Commercial Insurance. Who are we meeting today, Ed?
And I'm so glad you asked that. Thank you, President Ann. Fellow Rotarians and guests, I'm excited to introduce the newest member of the Rotary Club of Fort Worth, Scott Ryder. Scott has been in Rotary for 38 years, most recently as a member of the Austin Rotary Club, my hometown, by the way, and in Ennis prior to that, where he's a past president. Scott is also a 2-time Paul Harris Fellow. He and his wife, Dieta, moved from Austin to Aledo a couple of years ago, and he's been visiting our club as a guest since around last March. Between Scott and Dieta, they have 7 children, 5 girls and 2 boys, and 9 grandchildren, 5 girls and 4 boys there. Scott has been in the oil business since 1986, and that's by the quart, not the barrel. Let's all welcome Scott, who will be an amazing member of the Rotary Club of Fort Worth. The podium is all yours, Scott.
77 kids, no, not quite. But it has been a blessing, and Rotary has been one of those blessings. My father was a charter member of the Ennis Club in 1972, and I started going when I was about 10 years old. What a great organization. It's an honor to be part of Fort Worth Club, and looking forward to serving above self. So be happy to meet all of you guys at some point. Met some really nice people, and my wife was going to try to be here today, but we're making Valentine arrangements for a big family deal tomorrow. So look forward to being part of the club and helping where I can. Thank you, Ms. Ann.
Welcome.
Appreciate you. All righty.
We're glad you're here.
All righty.
Picture time.
Picture time. Scoot over a little. All right.
Thank you. Congratulations, Scott, and welcome to Rotary Fort Worth. It's now my pleasure to present a blue badge to one of our newest members, Linda Lopez, who has completed her 6 acts of service. So tell us, what was your favorite?
I really enjoyed greeting everyone up front because I can chat with them when they're coming through.
All right. Well, we're glad you're here, and thank you for your acts of service.
Thank you.
Let's give Linda a hand for that.
Thank you.
I hope you've noticed we do have the press here in a couple of places taking photos. It's always important. Our chairperson today is Rotarian Ann Zeta, who is the Executive Director of Community Design Fort Worth. She's going to be introducing our program today. Ann?
Oh, there's a timer here and everything. I'm kind of used to that. Rich Andreski is the president and CEO of Trinity Metro. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Biology from Lafayette College and a Master's of City and Regional Planning from the Edwards J. Blaustein School of Planning and Public Policy at Rutgers University. He also completed a I don't even know what that is. Sorry, a crisis management program at Texas A&M University Extension and is a graduate of the APTA Leadership Program. Rich arrived in Fort Worth to run Trinity Metro in June of 2022, and when I read in an article in the Fort Worth Report upon his arrival that Rich described himself as a believer in public transit and that he was excited to see Trinity Metro's potential as a transit system, I knew we were going to get along. He started early in what he wanted to, that he stated early that what he wanted to do was build upon and accelerate what Trinity Metro was already doing, as well as building consensus around transit, working with businesses and electeds, and doing all of this while understanding that some Texans are more skeptical about public transit, and that this would indeed be a concerted effort to tell the important story that the role transit plays in our community. Looking back over the last 4 years, as someone who pays a lot of attention to what goes on in transit in Fort Worth and across the region, I can say without a doubt that Rich and his team have made great progress in all of these things, and I know that you will be impressed with what he shares with us here today. And if you have not already ridden on transit in our city, you will be doing so after hearing this presentation today, because of all of the hard work that Trinity Metro has done in our community. So Rich, take it away.
And, you know, we have a legend in our midst in Ann Zeta. I'm going to, before I jump in here, I want to give Ann Zeta a little shout out. Ann is the recipient of the 2026 Friend of Transit Award from the Texas Transit Association. Let's give Ann a... Yeah, Ann truly is a legend in public transportation. I think, Ann, what I recognize about you is the belief in the potential of what we do in public transportation and how we can shape communities and lift up our city. And so today, as I share some thoughts with you, I want to do it in a way that really isn't about buses and trains, but to leave you with a sense of what we can do to amplify the success of Fort Worth. And in the words of the great Rotary motto, service above self, that is the identity and the culture of Trinity Metro. We are a reflection of Fort Worth. We are Fort Worth. And you're going to hear today a little bit about a set of priorities that are not the priorities of our internal team. They're priorities that reflect the goals and the aspirations of this city. And that's what we're here for. We're here to uplift and make things possible for others. Also, just looking at Ben Robertson here, I want to give Ben, thank you for your leadership. Ben Robertson is on the board of directors for Trinity Metro. One thing I've come to realize in working with boards, as many of you have, is that a supportive board can create the creative space and the strategic direction that allows organizations to thrive. And in Ben, we have that leadership, and in our 11-member board, and I'm really tickled to say that the progress we've made would not have been possible without that great board of directors. So Ben, round of applause for Ben. Just a show of hands, how many of you have been on Trinity Metro in the last year, one of these services? Okay. You know, that tracks with our data. You know, when I arrived here, I really wanted to understand our city. And not only did I go out and have lots of coffees, lunches, and dinners, we did a robust deep dive in polling. And we canvassed not only the city of Fort Worth, but all 41 communities within Tarrant County. And what we learned is that in the span of a year, 1/3 of our residents, of our 2.2 million residents, are on Trinity Metro every year. Doesn't mean they're riding every day, but they are using it either to go to the airport, to go to a game in Dallas, or to get to work. And so the relevance of our system is profound, although it may not seem that way. You know, I talk a little bit about Fort Worth, and Fort Worth is, in my mind, one of the most extraordinary cities in our country for a whole variety of reasons. We're big enough to dream big. We have scale, but more importantly, we have the attitude and the interest in partnership. And I haven't seen this in other places, and I think you all recognize that here, how exceptional it is. And I'm going to tell a few stories today that really exemplify that sense of possibility. I'll also say that I think there's a unique moment where we've actually grown so big that I'm not sure that our aspirations have fully caught up to that largest, the significance of our city, right? We tend to be humble. We're a humble people. We're a people of common sense. But I do think there's opportunity to dream a little bigger in terms of leveraging some of these emerging opportunities around our downtown, around our near south side, the stockyards, the Texas A&M Innovation District, and so many other opportunities. It starts with leadership. I mentioned the leadership of our board. We have a fantastic executive team. I'm really proud. This is one of the slides I'm most proud of. So I said I'm not going to talk a lot about buses and trains. I'm really going to brag on our team for a moment. We have brought in some of the best talent in our community, and we've reached out across the country and recruited some really exceptional leaders in their own right. What's inspiring about this is the sense of, good people, talented people have options. And so for the folks on this screen, many of you know them. And if you don't know them, I'd love for you to get to know them. One of them is in the room, Christine Black. Christine, raise your hand. Our Chief of Staff. Yep. I won't go through the resumes. What I will tell you about them is that we have folks from the Disney Company, folks that have run the St. Louis Arch. We have folks from Jacksonville. Lots of good people that have insights into best practices, and a core value of this team and my leadership team is around innovation. So is there a better, faster, cheaper way of doing business? And so you're going to see in this presentation an evolution of thinking and how we deliver mobility in Fort Worth. I'm pleased to say that, we went through a rough period with COVID, but that rough period is now behind us officially, and ridership has fully recovered. So every year we move about 8 million people. It's a great number, but lots of room for, future growth in that area. We are a 365-day, 24/7 organization. So every minute of every day, around the clock, there's someone on the job at Trinity Metro. And that was no exception during the recent winter storm. What I want to brag on for a moment here is the fact that we went through a winter event and kept essential life-saving transportation on the road at all times. Our Tex Rail service continued to operate. We did abbreviate the schedule a bit, but we continue to provide service in and out of the airport. And I've talked with pilots and flight attendants and other folks at the airport, and what I hear is that the ability to get to the airport is what stops planes from leaving. It's not the runways, it's not the de-icing of the planes, it's the ability to move flight crews in and out of that airport while roads are treacherous. And so the role that we play, again, is very significant. And what I will say too is during this winter storm, we canceled absolutely no service as a result of labor shortages or vehicle defects. So really proud of that. Thank you. As we were winding up for this event, the team really sprung into action, and that's me in the center of the upper photo there in the bright yellow-green coat. Walked into the room, and 100% of the workforce that was scheduled to be there was there. No absenteeism. It's just really incredible and a testament to the sense of mission of Trinity Metro. We're also thinking about Trinity Metro and what we do in terms of mobility as making it a more accessible, more inviting service. If you're not on public transportation routinely, it may be intimidating, so we've been leaning into the customer experience. One of the first opportunities on that was to connect the stockyards to downtown with the Orange Line. Been a huge success. Mayor Parker has recorded an onboard announcement, so if you ride, you'll hear Mayor Parker welcome you on board. Cowhide seats, and we are just really tickled with the reception that we've received. How many of you have been on Orange Line? Okay. Those that haven't, I just encourage you to take a ride up to the stockyards. We run every 15 minutes, 7 days a week. Blue Line is the next iteration on this idea to make transit very convenient. And this is the downtown circulator. An essential reason we do this is if you talk to folks like Mitch Whitten and Bob Jameson, and we talk about convention and visitor activity, downtown circulators are an essential way in which we attract conventions. Lots of conventioneers, folks that are looking for venues, are looking for that convenience. It's a free service, and it's sponsored in part by Visit Fort Worth and Downtown Fort Worth, Inc. And the result is in how people are receiving the service and of course the ridership. And we have buses routinely that look like this. So yes, we have some service on the road that you'll see empty buses, and we get that question a lot. But we also have buses that very much look like this at certain times of the day. And then I'm going to take a minute or two to talk about TexRail. TexRail is the flagship of Trinity Metro. And what we see here, and the reason I'm so optimistic about the future, is that TexRail is proving that when you provide great service, safe, clean, reliable, a great onboard experience. I know Bob Mitchell is a huge fan of TexRail. Bob, you're driving our numbers. Bob is on TexRail. Bob tells me that he will take TexRail to the airport and stay overnight, and wake up in the morning and just hop on the plane.
Let me just sleep on the frame.
TexRail is also supporting economic growth in our cities. The downtown Fort Worth activity we see around festivals and just about any night of the week. And, we have this hockey stick chart here, which you don't see in our business too often. What we're seeing is an acceleration of growth. So compounded growth is about 10 to 15% a year, but in December we saw a 25% spike in ridership. And again, word of mouth is what's selling this. This is not Trinity Metro marketing. I'd love to give our team the credit, and they deserve a lot of credit, but this is really about word of mouth, and the people that use it are very satisfied. Couple data points. I won't bore you with too many, but one is around the economic impact. If you are within if you're within a 5-minute walk of a train station, the data shows us that you will see about a double impact in terms of business activity within that 5-minute walk. So here in Grapevine, right, 23% growth if you were on the citywide average. If you were within a 5-minute walk, you saw that at 38%. So there's a specific and measurable result when we invest in transit. That shows up in property values. Properties on average in Grapevine throughout the city grew half as much as properties within a walking distance of the train station. So when we talk about return on the dollar, we have to look at the total economic impact of what we're doing, right? So it's the Trinity Metro balance sheet, it's the P&L statement, but then it's all of these other things that are benefits that are accruing in our community. My chairman, Jeff Davis, is fond of saying we are the solution to everything. Seems a little grand, but it does resonate in many ways. You'll see all of these opportunities on the screen. We have folks in the room, Dr. Rachel Capua, Dr. Emily Messer, other partners who we are working so closely with to, for example, improve access to educational opportunity. If you're a student and you need to cobble together the funds to attend college, you certainly don't want to be scraping together dollars to buy a car. And so we have a way of unlocking opportunity for young people, as an example. And we're in conversations now with our partners about how we can do things a little bit better and to provide more access. And I know Tarleton State Fort Worth is front and center in that, right off of Chisholm Trail, a great new campus. And there's an opportunity for us to connect that beautiful new campus to the rest of the city. More on that to come. I mentioned market research. We've done a lot of this. I'm going to highlight a few of those points. Traffic and mobility is always a top 3 concern. First thing that comes up, what are you concerned about? It's not crime, believe it or not, it's congestion. Congestion is the #1 concern. And we sort of, I won't go into all the responses, but I will highlight that we did ask people, are you willing to invest more? Do you want to invest more? And 3 out of 4 people say they would like more of their tax dollars to go into the services and programs that we offer. And the congestion is backed up by data. So NCT COG puts out a traffic forecast. Real simply, the image on the left is today's congestion. The image on the right is 2050. All you need to see there is red. So if we think traffic's bad now, just wait. I mentioned 1 in 3 residents are using the service. They're using it for a whole host of reasons. What I love about this is that our mission is really woven into daily life in Fort Worth, right? We're not just years ago, folks would call us, a commuter service, right? That's sort of an antiquated way of looking at what really is a service that we know people are using for just about every purpose, right? So I'm going to run through a few slides here about where we're going. We're starting with the Trinity Metro Promise that we want to be safe, simple, and innovative. These are core values to us. We have to always operate safely. That's a given. Simple, you saw it in blue line and orange line. We're going to continue to reduce the complexity of what we do. It's good business. It's good economics. And innovative. I drive my team crazy. I know this. We're constantly coming up with new ways to do things. And just when we think we've sort of perfected something, we're sort of on to the next thing, looking at how do we refine and improve and deliver more value. And that's a personal core value of mine too. There's nothing that we do that I'm not willing to revisit. It's not working, we're not going to defend it, right? The economic impact is showing up every year in our economy. We're generating over $700 million in impact. It's the equivalent of 2 Super Bowls. We brag about, getting a Super Bowl. We're happy about the World Cup. But we're generating as an organization 2 Super Bowls every year for our economy. And where do we go? The next 5 years are, we are building, we are in a moment of building momentum. Momentum because we're seeing support, we're seeing interest. But it comes back to clarity around the objectives. And these 5 goals are fairly straightforward, but they're fairly complex initiatives. We're going to continue to build out that color-coded network. That's underway. A new route's coming this fall. I have breaking news in this room. I don't know if you all know this, but yesterday I spent quite a bit of time over at NCT COG at the Regional Transportation Council. And I don't know if the news has sort of made its way to you yet, but we were successful in securing the final funding for the extension of Tex Rail into the medical district. I'm going to brag on our Mayor, Matty Parker, our City Council, our county commissioners. It was an extraordinary effort. I have to tell you, the motion on the floor yesterday was to assist DART and to provide more funding for the cities in North Dallas. And there was a big question that we all had, which was, well, if the region is rushing to assist DART, why are we not having a conversation about Tarrant in Fort Worth? And I got to tell you, within minutes and hours, we had our entire city mobilized, including our county commissioners, and it was an extraordinary display of unity. It was fantastic, actually. The hands went up in the room, and right, Christine, we were cheering. And so, yeah, we have the remaining funding now, so we're looking to break ground later this year. Yep. We're going to be working on connecting Alliance Express. We're going to do that with innovative solutions, including last mile. So we'll bring you there by transit, and we're going to provide that seamless connection, hopefully automated. We're going to lean into automated technology. I don't know if it'll be Waymo, Tesla, or something else, but we're going to explore that. We have our urban rail initiative. Mayor Matty Parker convened an urban rail panel recommending that we explore urban rail. So we owe the city and the mayor a plan. And our 5th goal is, I'm jumping around here. Thank you. How could I forget TOD? Mike Brennan is joining our team, near Southside CEO, phenomenal hire, a phenomenal individual, and really looking at how can we leverage the things that have happened in Grapevine should be happening at our Fort Worth stations. And so looking forward to getting started on that. And I'll wrap up with this final slide, which is this year will be an exceptional opportunity for our city to shine on the world stage. This is not just about moving people. This is about showing the world what Fort Worth is all about. We believe we have one of the greatest value propositions if you're coming to this region, coming to this city, of any place in the United States. The value proposition here is not only hospitality, a great downtown, a great community, but a chance for us to show the hospitality and the culture that we have here, and hopefully bring folks back, right? So folks that visit for the first time will get to experience Fort Worth, and we're pretty happy. I'll point out that we are not operating into Arlington for this event. What we will be doing is moving people on Trinity Railway Express into Centerport, and then putting them on shuttles over to the stadium. The shuttle operation will be FIFA and NCT COG. So we will not, our role in this is really moving people on the railroad. And so we're really looking forward to that. And I am, just going to wrap up here by, now that I had a plan actually to do a Mentimeter, but we're going to skip that, and I'm going to go right to questions. I think we have 5 minutes for questions. Yes, Bob.
So, relative to that fire, how do you get
Thank you, Bob. I am a daily user of Trinity Metro, so I commute by train. I use bikes and buses and on demand to get to my meetings. I'm almost on transit as much as Anzeta. Yes.
Aside from your list, if you had a magic wand, what would be the next thing you want to see happen?
Great question. I think we're going to need to find a way forward on sustainable funding. Let me just take 15 seconds on that. We don't have, every other state in the union, their state provides capital grants for infrastructure, right? When you build a bridge, whether the bridge carries a train or a bus or a car, there's a state role. I know we're nowhere near having that state support, but I do think that's a unique opportunity that we need to explore. And here's why. I think transit and providing the daily service is a local sort of, we've got to fund that locally. But when we build infrastructure, we see economic return. And this infrastructure that we're building is regional. We're connecting cities, we're connecting counties. At that scale, I think we need to revisit the idea of who's responsible for that infrastructure and frankly, the Texas miracle, right? I mean, our GDP of the state is largely generated in this Texas triangle. And the movement of people and goods will absolutely be essential to continuing that trend. A lot of hands. Why don't we I'll just go like this, right? So go ahead.
Would you compare, I believe the ridership and the percentage of your operating budget in Fort Worth is a lot better than Dallas, Austin, Houston. Would you compare your budget, how much is supported by riders, to the others in Texas?
Yeah, thank you for that. We are a half penny sales tax member. Most of our revenue for daily operations comes from the sales tax. Riders do contribute. It's a small sliver. Cat Metro, DART, Houston Metro, they're full penny members, and they have more cities participating. So we are a very, very, very small, humble, effective, but small, nimble agency. I'm not looking to. I like being small, but I think that we're missing some opportunity if we just invested a little more. Okay, we'll keep going. Yep.
Completely a lot lighter topic. How did we come up with a British gentleman on the text rail telling us to mind the gap?
Yeah. So our trains are made by Stadler USA. They're a Swiss company. I'm not sure where the voice came from. I don't know, but the trains are. I'm going to look into that though. I'm curious now. Yeah. Yes.
What is urban rail?
Urban rail is a different way of. We had a streetcar initiative 15 years ago in Fort Worth that had some baggage with that terminology. Urban rail is rail that is different from text rail, right? It runs probably on street running. It connects neighborhoods instead of cities. So text rail and TRE operate dozens of miles across the region. Urban rail is cultural district, downtown stockyards near South Side. It's right knitting together the central city. Yes.
I have a question about the text rail schedule. I just haven't taken a cab home because the evenings are an hour apart on the trains. All day they're 30 minutes. You get a train every 30 minutes, but at night they change to an hour. Is there one doesn't like, but two, is there a reason for that?
Yeah, right now, we're limited by dollars. Yeah. So we're making best use of the dollars we have to provide the service where it's needed. If you look at Denver, Denver operates every 15 minutes. They have an electrified rail line out of the airport. 15 minutes is the sweet spot for air travel. We're not going to be there anytime soon, but aspirationally, 10, 15 years out, we would like to offer 15-minute frequencies all day. That would be the ultimate goal. Yes?
What are your plans for the renovation of the terminal, TMP?
TMP is a gem. We are, with Mike Brennan joining the team, we're going to be convening folks from around the country to have some workshops around opportunity and what could take place. We do own property along Vickery on the south side. And on the north side, there's, of course, the post office and the future of that beautiful building. I think it's going to require all of us, the city, downtown Fort Worth, others to come together and really imagine what should happen in that area. But I think the post office needs to be in play, to be quite honest. Yep. Yes?
Questions about the electric buses and how that's worked, and the future of buses, electric or CNG?
We're sticking with CNG. I'm not happy with the performance of electric buses. There was a big push to move into that, and the industry was not ready. And people have seen a lot of failures. And fortunately, we only have 6 that we have to deal with. So we have compressed natural gas on site. Ultimately, we're probably going to, this is a bold prediction, but we're probably going to move away from big buses in the future. When we see increased automation, and buses are big because labor is expensive, but as labor goes away, in different form factors, more nimble vehicles, I think there'll be a trend that's going to play out over the next 10 years. By the way, those big buses are expensive. If we can buy light duty vehicles and, might be cheaper, faster, better. So we're on a sort of a long transition here, but I do think transit in 10 years is going to look very different. I guess one more question? Okay.
You mentioned the big buses, which leads directly to my question. Why can't we downsize buses for routes that need to be a route, but don't need to have a bus that carries 60 people with only 4 on the right?
We can, and we are doing just that. So actually, all the buses that we're buying now are smaller. They haven't, yes, also to your point, if we really have that much demand in a corridor, I would rather serve the demand with frequency, right? So instead of 1 bus every 30 minutes, a big bus, let's provide two small vehicles twice, right, in the same time period. So yeah, I think we're open to all of that. Keep in mind that the assets that we have to age out, right? So we have to get useful life out of them. So that's why the transition may not be as quick as I might like. So it'll be a gradual transition over the next 10 years, but you'll see that happening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rich. We really appreciate your program. It's very interesting. It's a tradition of the Rotary Club of Fort Worth to make a donation in your honor to Rotary International's Polio Plus Fund. And we're happy to do that and hope that you come back soon.
Thank you so much.
And rumor has it that you might be joining Rotary. Thank you. As we close, we have a few announcements. No committee meetings today. I know, it's great. We want to welcome Visit Fort Worth as an RLK RMBA 2026 sponsor. And it's not too late to join them. Just see our friends on the RMBA committee. Rosa's right there if you want to be on that wonderful list. And Russell Jacobson is recruiting the Rotary team for the Cowtown race, which will be held in 2 weeks on February 28th. Just see Russell to sign up. Next week, we will welcome Pia Arrhenius, the Vice President of the Federal Reserve Bank, Dallas. Who knows, maybe she'll bring some of their product to share at the tables. So join us and see if she does. And we will meet at the top of the town next week, just around the corner. Have a lovely Valentine's Day and a heartfelt thanks to everyone for coming today. Our meeting is adjourned.